80/20. Hey folks, it's your boy, the kid, Nate, back with you. Today I'm going to bring you a couple of licks from one of my favorite new kind of underground drummers. If you haven't heard of him yet, you certainly will soon. Mr. Forrest Rice. Forrest has an Instagram video, I think from the Guitar Center semifinals 2 years ago, and he plays a solo to kind of an up-tempo 16th-y Jojo Mayer, Julianish, like modern groove, and I'm going to play that for you right now. Okay, so in that last bit, I had to fill in some of the cracks because the actual Instagram video tails out before Forrest finishes, but I think the gist of it is just that groups of 3/16ths with that implied metric shift. So let's deconstruct these one by one very quickly. So the first is actually a lick that I've shown you guys before. It's a variation of something, and it's something that Spanky McCurdy does quite a bit, which is just... right? Which is an inverted paradiddle. And if you start it on the bell of the ride cymbal, it sounds like... But Forrest, as Spanky does, and is the idiomatic gospel chopsy way to do this, starts with the snare accents on the upbeat. So if you want to think about it that way, it would be 3/4. And the variations you can do, which he incorporates all of them into the sort of cycle, are you don't need to play both kick notes on the bell. You can go 3/4. And you can also orchestrate. So 3/4. So the entire cycle goes like this. 3/4. Right, but then if you put that into context over 16th notes instead of sextuplets, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so the second part of this lick that's super cool is this. 3/4. Right, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I actually like to start with that as a basis and just kind of fill in my own second half on that. So here are a couple examples of what that might sound like. 3/4. So what's the basis for this? It's essentially, it comes from linear playing. It comes from gospel chops. But then you're alternating one ghosted note on the snare and an accent with two ghosted notes. So And he's making a phrase by incorporating the kick drum there. Right? So you can make a groove out of that. 1, 2, 3. Right, so you can do all sorts of variations with that. So the last part of Forrest's lick is he does this thing that sounds like this. 3, 4. Right, so he shifts the sensation to the beat and he eventually metrically modulates to that. So just really quickly, let me show you what that would sound like with the constant hi-hat there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, and that's another thing. Like, the basis for that, we were just talking about the linear stuff. It's literally just... Right? Which is itself an orchestration of... Which is kind of just a Roy Haynes jazz lick, if you think about it. So, you just start from the... And every fourth one of those, you orchestrate to the snare drum rim shot. So, and every second, you double the bass drum. So, over 16ths. Right? So there are a lot of cool things you can do with that. And again, I like to just start out with what Forrest's doing and come up with kind of my own variations of it. So... Okay, so I think that's a good breakdown of what Forrest is doing in that lick. And I'm happy to say I have a guest contributor to this lesson. So now to take you to the next chapter of what to do with this lick, please welcome Mr. Forrest Rice.
Hey guys, it's Forrest. I'm here with Nate the 80/20 drummer, and we're breaking down the 6-stroke rudiment that I like to do, and it goes something like this. What you want to do when you're playing this is make sure you're aligning the kick with the right cymbal. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the 2 singles down the toms, and then I'm bringing in the diddles on the snare to kind of like bring out the ghost notes. So if I'm going to just play it on, just 3 surfaces for you, it would sound like this. When I put the singles on the toms, you start getting, it's kind of the start, and I get the ghost note, and bring it back. Another way I like to change this is by mixing where I put the double stroke, and I'll sweep it from to the rack tom, to the floor tom, to the snare drum. That goes something kind of like this. Floor. Now if I'm going to mix them, you can kind of get this. Another way you could do it is just do it on the toms. few ways you can change up the good old six stroke.
All right, we're back for a brief segment to close things out. I want to thank Forrest for his contribution to this lesson. Even though I'm thanking him from the past, I'm sure it's absolutely face melting. And it's probably a good thing that I'm recording my final segment now, because I'll probably be afraid to play the drums for a couple of weeks after this. No, just kidding. But seriously, man, you're an inspiration. Okay, so I just wanted to take you through a couple of things I would actually do for the groove on this track that Forrest is playing. And he was doing a variation that sounded something like this. 3, 4. And that's sort of pretty standard post-Harvey Mason, Thomas Pridgen-esque, Moeller, like, let the stuff fall where it may type of thing. And it reminded me of some variations I came up with when I was playing around with some of Thomas's vocabulary for my course. And one cool thing you can do, well, let me just take you through a quick sequence of ways you can trick that out and make it more interesting. So the cool thing I like to do is to move the hi-hat quarter note to the offbeat. So instead of it'll be 3, 4. And that introduces the opportunity to play the 1E on basically two different parts of the beat. So you can play it at the top. So 3, 4. Or you can play it on the 3E. So that would sound like 3, 4. So anytime you've got a 1E, it introduces the possibility of going hand to hand. So you can go 3, 4. And when you have that possibility, you can do the spanky. So 3, 4. So these, I mean, when I play that at tempo at 150, and this is metronome on 16th offbeats, that sounds pretty banging. So the other thing you can do then is introduce that hemiola. So instead of just, you can do that 6-beat phrase. So it'll sound like 3, 4. So really quick at tempo, let me start with the normal phrase with the spankyism and then go into the hemiolized one. And that's how you get the gig. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure and an absolute privilege to collaborate with Forrest on this lesson. As always, I'm going to give you my quick little sales pitch here. What I'm hoping every one of you who's been checking me out for a little while and thinks you're maybe ready to study with me will check out is the 80/20 coaching course. It's like 6 to 9 months of studying with me for pennies on the dollar. Everything high resolution video, everything with transcriptions, PDFs to take you through exactly what to practice every week. It solves the central problem of how do you cut out all the noise and just focus on the most important things. But if you want a gateway drug to that, I recommend my dirt cheap product, the 80/20 Roadmap, which is deliberately priced way below market just to give you guys a taste. Most drummers suffer from some version of the same 3 mistakes. The 80/20 Roadmap will help you triage those and get higher and higher, be in an upward trend line. Guys, always a fun time doing these. At the risk of running long, been real. One love. Check you next time. Peace.